Welcome back to episode 6 of my Short on Time series, and in today's episode I'm going to be giving you a full leg workout that allows you to get in and out of the gym in 30 minutes or less. We all live busy lifestyles and sometimes it's hard to find that full time for the full workout, so that's why this series is really perfect for those who do live busy lifestyles or anyone that really wants to try something new. So today I will be giving you a full workout, and also I'll be putting the timer on the screen like I have done with the previous episodes, so if you haven't seen those, I highly encourage you to watch them. They are really extremely effective workouts. I did create a playlist on my channel so you're able to go through there and you're able to kind of have them all organized that way. Also, I will be providing you with a voiceover like I did again in the previous episodes. I find that it's a really great way for me to provide insights into the workout. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the workout. No matter if you're short on time or not, warming up is extremely important. I actually did some light dynamic work, which took me a total of 2 minutes, so that's why I'll be starting the timer at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The first exercise is going to be the dumbbell Bulgarian split squats for 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps, and we will be taking a 45-second break in between sets. The reason why I decided to go with this squat variation was because with a heavier barbell squat, it normally does take a lot more time to warm up, and you normally have to pyramid up and weight, so I feel that this squat variation is definitely much safer, and it's also still a very effective exercise. For those who are new to this exercise, it does require some balance, so definitely keep that in mind. Also, if you're looking to emphasize the quad, which we are with this exercise, you want to make sure you keep a more upright posture, because the more you lean forward, the more you're going to involve the glutes and the hamstrings. And you really want to make sure that you're focusing on pressing through with your heel. And since you're performing it one leg at a time, it does require a little bit more endurance. And if you do happen to have a leg that's more developed or a little bit stronger, then you want to make sure to do the one that's legging first. The second exercise is going to be the leg press for 2 sets of 10 to 12 reps, taking a 45-second break in between sets. I really like to go lighter than most people sometimes with this exercise because it does bother my knee, so that's why I kind of chose to go a little bit lighter. But I also try to make up for this by trying to really control the weight and increase the time under tension. And once again, we are focusing on the quads, so you want to make sure you're taking a lower foot placement and really press through your heel. The number one thing you want to avoid when doing the leg press is completely locking out your knees. So as you can see here, I'm maintaining a slight bend at the top. I also like to include one unilateral exercise in most of my workouts, but we did that with the first exercise being the Bulgarian split squats. The leg press does make a great way to incorporate this as well. So if you've never tried the single leg press, then definitely give it a try. You'll quickly find out if you have any strength imbalances. So now we're moving into the hamstring portion of the workout, and we're going to be starting off with some lying leg curls for 2 sets of 12 to 15 reps. I do prefer the lying variation as opposed to the seated. However, if you do want to do the seated leg curls, that's completely fine as well. The reason why I chose this hamstring exercise first was because it does allow me to get some blood in the muscle, and it really establishes that mind muscle connection from the start before I move more into a hip hinge based exercise. The most important thing with the lying leg curls is to make sure you keep your body glued to the pad the entire time. You don't want to be swinging the weight or trying to cheat the weight up. And the hamstrings have been a weak point of mine, so I really like to focus on feeling the muscle work. And by actually keeping your body glued to the pad, you're going to be allowing the hamstrings to do all the work rather than using body momentum and, like I said, cheating or swinging the weight up. Currently now in my training, I do have 2 leg days per week. One is a quad focused workout and the other is a hamstring focused workout. And this has actually really helped to make my leg days a lot more manageable while keeping the intensity high and spreading out my weekly training volume. So after getting that mind muscle connection established with the lying leg curls, we're now moving into a T-bar variation of an RDL for 2 sets of 8 reps. I do find this movement pattern much easier than using a barbell for really allowing me to focus on driving my hips back and getting that nice stretch on my hamstrings. And speaking of that stretch, I do love the feeling of doing a leg-based curl exercise like a lying, seated, or even a standing leg curl before moving into an exercise that completely stretches out the muscle, like this variation with the T-bar row. You can also do the Smith machine or even a dumbbell RDL. I find that those are really great as well. The key with any type of hip hinge based exercise is to really focus on driving your butt back while keeping a neutral spine with your weight evenly distributed, or even sometimes more towards your heel. I find that helps as well. And as you can see here, I'm really trying to activate my glutes, which is another weak point of mine, by really squeezing and contracting them at the top. Your hamstrings normally don't require a lot of volume, so honestly after these 2 exercises, they definitely did me in. And of course, we can't forget about the glutes, and that's why I love the stability ball triple threats. So for those who haven't seen this exercise before, you're doing a total of 21 reps, 7 being a hip thrust base exercise, 7 being a leg curl, and 7 from a glute bridge, and you're basically doing them back to back with no rest. And the most important thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure you have your hips elevated off the floor the entire time. So with the first movement being the hip thrust, I find that this is a great exercise for really getting that mind muscle connection with your glutes, which I do lack. And then you're moving into a lying leg curl, which is going to be more of a hamstring based exercise, but I do feel it in my glutes as well because of the first exercise. It did tax my glutes. So I find that I feel it both in my hamstrings and my glutes. And then after you're done those 2 exercises, you're moving into an elevated glute bridge. And this is honestly the worst part. In terms of the worst part, I mean the best part, because I do feel an amazing contraction in my glutes, which I've never really felt before. And honestly, standing up after the exercise is extremely challenging, and it does look a lot easier than it is when you actually do it. So I highly encourage you guys to give it a try. And if you're prioritizing your glutes and your hamstrings in your training like I am, then this is definitely a staple exercise. And the last exercise for our short on time workout is going to be the standing calf raises. There's absolutely nothing fancy about calf training, but you definitely don't want to skip it, especially if you're short on time. You definitely still want to make sure you're getting it in. I decided to go with the standing variation as opposed to the seated because I do really love the feeling of this machine. The biggest thing here is to really not bounce at the bottom position. I really like to try to keep a slow and controlled tempo the entire time and really feel my calves working. So that's going to conclude it for our short on time leg workout. As you can see, it was a completely balanced workout. We did hit quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves all in 25 minutes. The biggest thing here is to really make sure you're pushing yourself during each set, making every rep count, especially if you are short on time. Alright, so that's going to conclude that short on time leg workout. And as you can see, we did get it in 30 minutes or less, and we did hit all parts of the leg, being the quads, the hamstrings, a little bit of the glutes, and the calves as well. So next time that you guys are short on time, I highly encourage you guys to give this workout a try. And I did organize it into a playlist, so you can access it through that way, and you're able to get all the workouts within the series within an organized playlist. So I highly encourage you guys to binge watch that. I will be doing the last episode next week, and that's going to cover ab training. So you definitely want to make sure you stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I do have a lot of great, exciting content planned in the works that I'm looking forward to drop for you guys. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also turn on the bell notifications. I do want to make sure you guys get notified every time I drop a new video. And for those who are new to my channel, I do upload twice a week. My upload schedule is every Sunday and every Wednesday, and you can expect that consistently going forward. So make sure to turn on those bell notifications. Also give the video a like. All the support is definitely appreciated, and all the likes definitely go a long way for supporting my channel. So make sure to give the video a like, and that's going to do it. I'll see everybody here for the last episode next Wednesday. Until then, peace out.